Blessings, everyone. Today I would like to offer a life purpose and past life oracle reading. Because the eclipse energy has been so prevalent across the board, everyone is in the astrology community, whether it's Western astrology or Vedic astrology, has been talking about it. Anyone who is spiritual or pagan, in the space of bringing through messages from all of the unseen worlds, whether it's our starseed family, our guides, angels, so on, has been speaking of the same thing with this energy, that it is very powerful, but also brings that purging of change. And so there's kind of no way to avoid this, even though this is going to be across the United States. The whole world is going to be feeling this because it's just a resonance that embodies that. It's a very strong energy. And also we have Mercury going in retrograde. There was just a penumbral eclipse. And so it's like the unseen becomes seen. And a lot of people have been talking about the deja vu feeling, or the feeling like the timelines have kind of shifted a little bit. And so Spirit was very clear this morning with a message that though we're in the eternal now and everything is now, that there isn't really technically the past or the present or the future, that it's all one. Sometimes it's a little confusing when we're talking about past life stuff, because we're supposed to be so present. We're always being told, stay in the now, stay in the now. But sometimes in order to move forward, we have to heal the certain karmic energies that have been lingering, whether it's something that went somatic and it's now integrated into the physical being, or it's something that keeps emotionally sparking triggers from us that could be from a past life. A lot of these things, this energy is just pulling. It's pulling so hard that some of these things are coming through. And I also understand that not everybody may be in that space where they're in tune with past life experiences. But this may be your first, because this eclipse energy is that strong. It is just uprooting things. They say 10 steps back. But literally this could be like 10 years back, 10 lifetimes back. It is so powerful. So it's almost like a slingshot. Spirit's showing me a slingshot that is just pulling. And then we're just going to go ahead. It has to purge everything. This is like the final clean slate. Before everything really is going to even out for all of us, the world events the last few years has just been surreal. And to bring this into a space of steady flow, the rest of the stuff just has to come out. Whether it's on a solitary journey level of a soul or the mass consciousness. And so with that, I'd like to say thank you to Source for allowing me to be a medium of light. And I ask the angels and guides to step forward to help bring a life purpose, just to meditate on, to focus on, through the chaos of emotions and experiences that are very fast at this moment, for the highest good of the collective. Thank you, I'm grateful. So I'm with this card, Spirit is just kind of giving a little something, because sometimes it's very hard. It's very hard to be clear and focused when there's a lot of emotional energy and you're doing all this work. Oh, everything's coming up left and right, triggers, and they don't like the word triggers. They keep correcting me and saying it's just experience. And so the experiences are very intense, whatever that is. Sometimes it's just everything is falling apart, and to be able to step forward from that, sometimes to find a focus point even, sometimes we just need that beam of light, that little pinpoint of light. And so this is Spirit was nudging just to give us a little something that we can meditate on and contemplate maybe give something to think about. Okay, they're saying to take this one. Spiritual teacher. You heal with your classes, sessions, and seminars. And the beautiful thing here is that what they were bringing through earlier that I was sharing is that this energy is affecting the whole. There's nothing. It's not just people that are in an awakened consciousness that experience these energies. It's not that everybody may truly understand. It's like that intuitive feeling you get. There's many people that maybe are not open to discussing it, but they'll walk in a room and they can feel, there's just been a heavy argument. They're not sure what that feeling is. They feel the tension maybe in their belly or in their throat feels tight, their muscles, and they're reacting physically to something intuitively. And so this broad spectrum, all the different symbols are just embodying that message that it's a universal experience for us here. Everyone is going to go through this in their own aspect, in their own way. And though setting crystals out or things of that nature, it may not be the best time for that with the energies. If we're doing our work and we are clearing and preparing and being ready, surrendering to all that is, and maybe not always having such specific intentions with how this is going to go, but being open to change. Once we're into that space and we know that it's going to be difficult, we want to experience change in a way that feels like smooth sailing. But we've all been through this enough, being through this, that we know that we are always okay after we've gotten this far. That's the number one thing. They're saying through our spiritual rituals, through our meditations, through our experience that has now become wisdom. We're all teachers and students here of this. But one thing we all know innately, if we're watching this, we got this far. And we know that it's going to be okay. And that even through the most difficult changes, we've all experienced that. I, quite a few years ago, went through an experience where I was left homeless with 3 children. My youngest was like about 14 months old. And I was sleeping in my car for a little bit before I went to a shelter. My whole life was ripped out. Then I had a heart attack. I wound up having cancer. There was so many things. And at that point, if you would have said to me, it's going to be okay, I would have, yeah, I know it's going to be okay. But I'm throwing my pity party right now. And that's what's going on right now is we know innately in our core being, we know because we've processed, we've done the work, we've healed. We've taken the classes, we've done the drum journeys, we've pulled the oracle cards, we work with the crystals, we've had our Reiki, we've meditated, we've seen the light codes, we've done the dream work, all of this vast spectrum. It's all of it. It's with us. And this is what we need to call on right now. This is the great connector, the great test. It's easy when there's these little bits of things that we're going through, whether it's an emotional upheaval or maybe a switching of a job or maybe a relationship changes, and we're working with that one thing, and we pull on our knowing, our experience, our wisdom, and our spiritual practices. But when there's a whole bunch, when it feels like every single aspect is just being shifted fast without any warning, and Spirit is saying, this is the tower moment. And this came through in another reading as well. This is the moment when we are walking our talk. When we're surrendering, knowing that this is change, knowing that this is wiping the slate clean, and everything that needs to be seen will be shown to us. This eclipse is like a giant mirror. It's like just ripping off the rose-colored glasses. What are we going to do with it? We have the ability to be alchemists, they're saying. We are alchemists. I work with the violet flame. This is my tattoo of it. Always reminds me that we can transmute the energy. We have this ability, especially as a collective. When they talk about Mercury retrograde, if we just learn to spin our chakras in the opposite direction, instead of pushing all the energy out into the universe, we can pull that in. And the same thing goes for these energies of the eclipse. We have the ability to take the aspects that we feel are heavy, dense aspects, and transmute that energy into the positive. And it's not walking around with rose-colored glasses, being overly optimistic. Being spiritual and awake and expanded consciousness doesn't really have a good or negative connotation. It doesn't have an idea of that. It just is. And so starting from there, it's just experience. And yes, I spoke with a lot of friends, spirits reminding me, just a day ago, that are going through the purge of a lot of people in their lives. This is always the hardest ones. But we've been through this before. The biggest purge we've ever had is when we stepped from the space of being in full spirit to come to have a human experience. Now, if we can do that, and we've navigated this far, whoever is moving in and out of our life right now, we can flow with that change. But we always know that that's because we've completed a karmic exchange with that soul. We set out to do what we came to do with them. If we can change that negative feeling in the heart when someone is moving through our life and see it as, wow, we did it. Maybe, okay, it may not end in the way we wanted to, with a verbal exchange. Maybe there's harsh words, disagreements. But we know in that level of all the unseen energies that we can heal that just by going within and forgiving. We don't need to tell them. Words do not need to be exchanged, and we know that. It's all about the energies. As soon as that soul contract, the karma has shifted, and we're no longer in each other's awareness, just forgive, release, love, and that's that. And that should actually feel from a negative idea or concept into something more loving and gentle, because we've then become the alchemist of the experience, and we step into what it's supposed to be, a lesson. Now, the next card I'm going to pull is the past life. And Spirit is encouraging this because there's been a lot of deja vu. I know a lot of friends and soul family have been feeling these feelings like, wow. And it's interesting because I was shown quite some time ago from Spirit, one of my guides, explained that deja vu is actually a moment that we planned when we were planning out certain destiny points in our soul contracts, that we would remember planning it. So though it may be something unfamiliar in the physical journey that we're having right now, like maybe it's a certain area in a park that we feel like we've been there before, and we're looking at the trees and the way the sunlight is coming through the leaves, and we're feeling like, no, we know this. And that deja vu feeling is that perfect alignment. We're remembering planning that in our soul chart. And we wanted ourselves here on the journey to remember. So we know that we're where we're supposed to be. It's an amazing experience because there is truly that connection. We led ourselves there. What greater gift can we give from our higher self to our soul self expressing the story here, then that moment, almost like a high five from our higher self saying, you know what? You found where you needed to be. And that's amazing. And so this past life is just to help us. This is maybe something that's occurring for a lot of us in the collective, that's coming through, that's going to come through the eclipse, that we can work on, just to think about what might be bringing some of the traumas or the emotions stirring that maybe we're just not sure. Maybe we're telling ourselves, oh, you know, this is the eclipse, or this was the prenumbral eclipse energy, and I don't know what's going on. I'm just all over the place. And this may give a little bit of an insight as to, Spirit saying, take this one, what it might be. The arts. And so maybe they're saying that the best way for all of us to process this was something we were connected to many, many lifetimes ago, or even the most recent lifetime that we had, was our creativity. We know many, many people who are creative from A to Z, whether it's a creative aspect like the arts, like playing guitar, singing, painting, writing, dancing, photography. But there's so many more aspects to creativity. It could be, maybe you love to bake, or maybe you love gardening. Maybe you're a really good teacher, and you love to sit with your students and tell them about historical events. But you do it in a creative way. You create a little magic in your classroom. These are all things that we know that we can use to help process. And a lot of this is sacred space. Sometimes we don't even know where the inspiration comes from. It's just a little whisper or a nudge from the unseen worlds. There's so many inspirers in the unseen worlds, from our loved ones to our angels and guides, always whispering little beautiful things to notice, to spark that heart fire and get us creating. And they're saying that this is key. This is key. When we're starting to purge and we're having these moments through the eclipse and the energy is getting really heavy, Spirit is saying, sit down with something. Even if it's just a piece of loose leaf and a pen. Even if you start swirling around, they're showing me a child with finger paints. It doesn't matter. There doesn't have to be any kind of specific outcome. It's just expressing something. Sometimes we need the emotions, the solar plexus and the heart, to spark the mental worlds to understand. Lead from there. That creative aspect comes through. And sometimes it can bring it into the mental worlds a little bit of clarity, especially if it's an emotional upheaval that we're going through in the eclipse. And so many, 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 many of us have had lifetime after lifetime where we were creative. Sonic souls, or architectural souls. There's so many aspects to this. Some are into sacred geometry, and they create from there. It's all relevant, and it's so very important not to lose that. It's very easy when we're having an emotional upheaval, disarray in the moment, to step away from the creativity because we're saying, oh, we're not inspired. I don't feel like making that today. I can't focus. But what Spirit is saying is this is the most important part. This goes with the classes and the sessions and being the teacher and the healer, is being able to embody that creative aspect of everything. I mean, creation. What more can we say with that? just think how creative we were when we decided to design a masterpiece of a lifetime. The intricacy that went into this, even down to this point that we would have to shatter during a solar eclipse. We knew and we understood. This whole lifetime is just creation, folding and unfolding, breathing, expanding, healing. And that's what we're doing. And this is giving us the opportunity. It's giving us the opportunity to approach this in a different way. Instead of going within and just meditating silently, perhaps Spirit is nudging to pick up the guitar. Or just whistle if that's what comes to you in the moment. I have singing bowls. Sometimes I put the radio on and while I'm cooking in the kitchen, I'm belting out my favorite tunes. It just feels good. It's moving energy. And this can bring through all of that healing through the past lives. Because we're using creativity. We're co-creating with Divine Mother. We're co-creating with the universe. And whatever that is for us, it's so important right now. And that will lead us right to where we need to be through this. So just remember, as we're healing and we're embodying all the things that we understood, that we've learned up until this point, and we're putting this into motion, we're using the tools we're given, that we've explored and created, that we can transmute the energy through this eclipse into something life-altering. It doesn't have to have any name given to it, whether it's negative, positive, good, bad. The universe will help with that. We just have to get through the other side of it. Holding space, trusting. Even if we can't get our emotions on par and we're kind of up and down, it's okay. Because it's really not about that. So what if we're all over the place? It's experience. It's what we came here to do. Where we came from, we didn't have these emotions. This is to help navigate the density here. Spirit is saying, feel your feels. Just feel it. Go through it. And let it go. That's part of why we're here. But so they're pulling their energy back. I thank you for allowing me to bring this message. My heart is with everyone that's going through very intense changes at this time, or feeling as though it's a very heavy, dense, intense change. But just trust and know that you're not alone. This is definitely, the collective is going through this. And the more we share our experiences and the more people connect with us, say, oh my gosh, me too. Yes, yes, yes. Find strength in that, because you're going to connect with who is going to be with you for the rest of this journey right now. Once this is all come to pass after the 8th in North America of April, look around you in gratitude and know that those are your soul family. Definitely. Much love, everyone.